right, good morning. Let's sit down and chat for a hot second before I jump into more things for today. I'm going to try to be somewhat quiet because it's really early. I have been waking up incredibly early most days, and I don't want to wake the whole household, but I thought I would kind of film some bits and pieces of my day today and kind of show you some updates in our homeschool space and with some other things we've got going on. And I also feel like I owe you guys a little bit of a life update because I had somebody actually email and say, hey, just wanted to check and see if she was still kicking. Yeah, I'm not dead.
I'm not dead. What? Nothing. Here's your ninepence. I'm not dead.
I thought that was kind of funny. Although some days I kind of feel like it. So let's see if I can give a pretty concise life update on what's been going on and why I kind of like dropped off the face of the planet for a while. At least as far as social media is concerned, what happened there. So let's get you guys up to speed. So for the longest time, I've been a full-time nurse and I run a part-time baking business from home, and then I do YouTube, and that's been my work. As my kids got older, so when I graduated my first child from our homeschool, and I've got one left, and his schedule is very, very unique, and what he's doing school-wise is unique. We'll kind of talk through some of those changes here. I felt called to start teaching outside the home. I don't have a teaching degree, but I do have degrees in biology, chemistry, and then nursing, right? So, which qualified me to teach at a classical school. So, I was offered a teaching job at a Lutheran classical school, and it has been amazing. Like, I really do love teaching kids. Like, it's fantastic. I love it. I'm teaching middle school, which some people are probably like, you're crazy, but I love that age group. Like, they are the best. Like, oh, it's fantastic. And it's wonderful because I could see like, what's this next step in life after my son, moves on to trade school and everything. It's just like, it's felt so good to know kind of what the next step is. That being said, when you transition from teaching full-time or from nursing full-time to teaching full-time, obviously there's a huge salary adjustment there. And so you have to make adjustments like as a family, like what things are we going to give up? What things are we going to do differently? Like how does that shift everybody's plans around and everything? And so we made those adjustments and everything. But then we got to the start of the school year and my husband lost his job and has been out of work for an extended period of time. So thank goodness for that nursing degree and the fact that I had not cut ties with the hospital completely. I had simply gone to like PRN because I had to pick up a lot. So currently my jobs, I teach full-time. I work at the hospital. I do home care nursing. I run a baking business. Those are all the work that I do. And I've been having to do all of them in order to, not only to make up for what I lost from going from nursing to teaching, but also now to make up for that. My schedule has basically been working 14 to 15 days in a row and then getting one day off. And I know it's not sustainable because I'm not a spring chicken anymore and I am tired. I am tired all the time. I know I look so, gosh, I look so exhausted because I am. I'm really tired. And even on the day that I'm like off, it's usually like I have like a scout meeting or I have something else going on. So a lot of days, I'm up, I'm trying to do house stuff, I'm teaching, I'm coming home, and then I'm working with my son, and then I might be doing like a cake order, and then like I work all day Friday, and then I go and work all evening Friday, and then every single Saturday I work a 12-hour shift at the hospital, and then some Sundays I'm picking up anywhere from 4 to 8 additional hours, and then back at it. And I know it's not sustainable long-term, but it kind of is what it is right now. So that's a big piece of it. It's just, for those who've never done like anything YouTube related, like there's a lot that you have to get around. You have to get your lighting ready. You have to plan what it is you want to talk about. You don't just wing it. At least hopefully you don't just wing it. So you're planning all of this stuff, and then you have to plan time for editing, and you have to plan for time for uploading and all of this. And quite honestly, there's just been way too many days where I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and it just hasn't happened. So that is why things have been so sporadic, and it's simply just us kind of dealing with where we're at with stuff right now. And hopefully it won't be a forever situation, because I just don't know how my body's going to keep up with it long term. So to add insult to injury, I had a shift at the hospital a few months ago, and it was one of those shifts where we were really short-staffed, and I had really physically dependent patients and lots of moving and everything. And the next day I woke up and I was having intense shoulder pain. And I thought maybe I had just overdone it, maybe just, overstretched a muscle. So I waited a few days and it didn't get any better. So I went to the ER finally to get it checked, and I had a rotator cuff injury on my right shoulder, and I'm right-handed. Okay, well, here's the downside, guys, right? I didn't get it checked right after my shift or during my shift, so it's not work related officially, which means that, I mean, the doctor at the time at the ER was like, okay, we need to put you on a lift restriction. But the way that it works within the hospital is that your lift restrictions from a doctor's note are only good for like 7 days. You got to get them renewed and all of that. So you'd have to pay to keep going to the doctor, to keep getting a renewed lift restriction. And then on top of that, they will pull you from your shifts if you can't physically do the work. Well, I can't afford to get pulled from my shifts. So I've had to adjust how I'm doing things while trying to get my shoulder to heal. But at the same time, I can't afford to not be working. So basically, like with a rotator cuff injury, a lot of times you have pain with certain movements. So when I move my shoulder forward, move my shoulder back. When I start to move up, when I get to about here, Lord forbid I put my arm over my head, then it's really intense. So I've really been trying to limit that motion as much as possible. But the biggest thing has been that it's not just that it hurts when I move it, it's when I stop moving, then the pain keeps radiating down, and like all the time. I've taken care of a lot of patients who've had chronic pain, and I understand how like physically exhausting it is for them, and emotionally, like to just have to keep going through your day, and it just always hurts. Like you always have this baseline pain, and I have even more sympathy for them now, because it's just, there's baseline pain all the time. And then it gets worse especially when I'm doing nursing tasks, obviously, because it's a physically demanding job and I work on a physically demanding floor. So I am physically and emotionally exhausted from all of that, trying to have this heal and not being able to stop doing the things that aggravate it in order to allow it to heal. Like it's really frustrating to know, like I know as a nurse what I need to do to let it heal properly, but I can't. And that's hard. So not to sound like a grumpy Gus, but that is just kind of where life has been lately. It's been work and a lot of discomfort and everything. So, but the kids are doing great. They really are. We actually, Emma's just doing amazing at college. Amazing. I'll give a few more updates on her at a future date, but she's doing wonderful. And I'm really happy with what we've been doing scheduling wise with Ethan, and how we've been getting some additional family members involved in his senior year, and even some talks about a super senior year. So we'll talk about those things in the future. Anyways, I wanted to just kind of show you some updates, like I said, down in the homeschool space, and some things that he's working on and all of that. So I will take you down there. I'm going to finish my coffee. I'll take you down there and I'll show you the things that we've shifted around. And then I'm going to be going into work for a couple of hours today. And then this evening, I think we'll do some prep stuff this evening. Maybe we'll do some food prep, maybe do some baking, because I don't actually have to work any other jobs this evening. So I could actually do some things at home. Anyways, coffee, and then we'll rock and roll. Okay, so the homeschool room is a little bit different, because normally my son's desk has been here. Well, let's see. So for a while it was here, and then he moved it over to here, and then we had my daughter's desk. Well, Emma took one of her desks took her desk that was down here to school with her, and then moved, she moved her desk that was here upstairs. Yeah, she moved her desk that was down here up to her room. She took the one from her room to college with her. So ultimately what we decided to do was we put Ethan's desk here, and then I moved our little extra fridge here. So I keep my cake orders down in this fridge, and then we have extra storage for like frozen things and stuff like that. So this is Ethan's setup. So these are the 10 drawer units from IKEA that we have been using forever. Like forever. These are, I'll tell you what, these are fantastic, because I mean, we can just sort things out by subject. Parents, this is such a game changer for your kids when you're trying to help them work to moving independently, is if you can just have a way to organize it that is easy for them. So, you know, when he's doing math, and it's all in there. It's just the math stuff, literature, you know, science, like everything is just kept in its place, and it's great. And then I had this bookcase that the last couple of years the kids were kind of sharing. And what I did is I moved over the books that he's using for his curriculum this year there. And you might go, oh my gosh, there's so many books. Okay, well, you have to remember we do a lot of literature-based curriculum. So he is doing Modern American History from Guest Hollow. That's one of them. So this row and this row are his U.S. history books. So just look at all of these fantastic titles. I mean, it's really great. Now, he's not reading every single book front to back, but he's actually reading a good number of them. I mean, he's going to have a lot of books under his belt before the end of the year. We have books here that are some that are more related to like literature. What we decided to do this year for literature is I actually gave him a selection of books, and he gets to choose which ones he wants to read and when. And then at the end of each book, he has to write me a paper and do a presentation. So because he's doing so much reading for history and then for econ government, I decided then for literature, we would kind of go a little bit of a lighter route this year. And so rather than doing a whole bunch of like comprehension questions and things like that, I mean, because he's a senior, guys, and he's going into a trade. So he doesn't need to have an extensive literature course this year. So he has to choose at least 5 novels over the course of the year. And he can choose books that he's already reading for one of these other 2 classes if he'd like to, or he can read some great. So like I have To Kill a Mockingbird up here, The Great Gatsby, Fahrenheit 451. And then he can write about them. This one was actually one, I think this was listed for Modern American History, but he said he might do that one too. So he's just got to read them, write a report, do a presentation. This is the ginormous printout of the Junior Modern American History book from Guest Hollow. Like, look how huge that is. I think I did an unboxing of this. But I've worked this in as well for him to read because it's great. Jen Guest did an amazing job writing this. So if you have middle schoolers and you want to do Modern American History, yeah, just go ahead and get the book printed. It's worth it. And then his government and econ books. So actually most of the books, did I get them separated by, I think I did. I think I got most of his econ books up here. So this is the government econ personal finance course from Guest Hollow. So his workbook pages are printed into here. There's an online textbook for the government class, government part of the class. So he has that reading, and then he's got other book selections to read as well. And then the econ is almost all from different books. There's no workbook for econ, which is fine. I just need him to have a good understanding of economics. So he's got like, he reads little, like 2 pages every couple of days from these 2 books. And then we kind of work through these books one at a time. So there's some interesting things in here, like the money challenge from teens, whatever happened to penny candies, candy is a really fun book. The cartoon guide to economic books are great. There's actually 2 different versions on the Great Depression. See, this is what I really like about this course, is it tries to show you both perspectives and let you make an educated decision on your thoughts on it. So there's the politically incorrect guide to the Great Depression and the New Deal, and then there's Crash. So they give 2 different perspectives on the Great Depression and the New Deal. So that way you can kind of see what both sides of the aisle think of it, and then again, come to your own conclusions. So I think that's really a great way to teach it. These are a bunch of the books for government, and I've gone through all of these before, but just so you can kind of scan and see the titles here. And I know not everybody's child is like into a ton of reading, but boy, getting your kids to read more and learning to continue to read as an adult is so important. Yeah, so just to reemphasize that point, like continuing reading for your own education is such an important thing as an adult. And I feel like we sometimes let our kids slide out of reading too easily. We go, oh, well, they don't like it. Well, I don't like to go to work, but I have to. But build the habit, right? We don't want them to hate reading, but there's some really good books down here, guys. And I think if you just encourage your kids to break it down and read it, even if they're just reading like a chapter a day, they're going to get some great information. And I mean, my daughter, when she took this course, learned so much more about the economy and the government than I ever did at her age. And then I was reading these and learning right along with her. So I was super excited to like come back to this course 2 years later and do it with my son. Hands down, the government econ course is my favorite course that we've done from Guest Hollow, just because of the sheer amount of information that is really important and pertinent to their everyday lives that my kids have learned from it. So fantastic course. Not that the history courses aren't awesome too. I love the history courses. I love the way that we learn about history now, but this course, 100%. I will recommend this forever because it's so good. It's that good, but you got to do the reading. You got to do the reading because that's where you're going to gain all of this knowledge from. The other thing we're going to do are some iCivic packets. So I've been printing those off for him. I'll show you the iCivics website and some examples of that there, because I've got to print off a few more for him today, for him to have. So, but that is his setup, right? His desk there. And then, yeah, let me show you a few more things around the homeschool room as well. All right, currently the poor bookcase is kind of a mess as well. So it was getting crazy. I still have all of kind of my fiction books over here. So more like my books. Emma, when she went to school, she took some books with her to college, and yeah, the puppy got down here and tore up some paper towels I need to throw away. But she had some books she wasn't going to take with her, so we put some of those on a shelf. And then I was trying to condense down like books on different categories that we've used in our homeschool. So for example, like we still have a ton of the books that we used for our chemistry in the kitchen course, because I don't know, they're great books. I just like to keep them. I have books that I used when I was writing my mental health course. I still haven't released it yet, but I've got some books that I read for that. books on geography. I got science books. I just keep, I don't know, I keep anything that I think is interesting, or classics. I got a bunch of classic books down here as well. So just like tons and tons and tons of books. But I did clear out a bookcase at the end because I'm taking a whole bunch of books to the classroom that I'm teaching in now, and incorporating them in there. So I actually cleared a whole bunch there. Plus it also helps that I moved a bunch of them onto that shelf as well. So just trying to figure out how I want to best utilize all this. As you can see, like that's one of 3 boxes of books I'm going to go put in my classroom at school. I pulled a bunch of books that we have read for the different classes that we've done here in our homeschool that I thought the kids there would like. So lots of books. Oh my goodness. Like yeah. Anywho's, I got to get those over to the school and added to my classroom library there. All right, I need to print off some of the iCivics lessons for Ethan that go along with his government portion of his government econ course. This is what the schedule looks like. For those who aren't familiar with what the guest hollow schedules look like, this is kind of the big PDF you get. I can click on these. These will take me to the website, the online textbook. These links here will take us to where you can purchase the different books, but it kind of breaks down like, you know, what they're supposed to read each day. Anyways, under extra resources and activities, sometimes they have iCivics classes. So these are really great little lessons here that you can have your student do. iCivics is free to sign up for, and they have so many great things for your students to do. But basically, you just download the materials. There's teacher answer keys and stuff like that too on there. So this is on parties, primaries, caucuses, and conventions. And different packets will be different lengths, but you can see there's information to read, usually. And then there'll be activities to do. So kind of like assignments to have your student work on. And so I like this because they're really high quality worksheets. And the answer keys are here as well. So there's a teacher guide and, you know, and answer keys and stuff like that. So these are just great for having, first of all, something that you can put a grade on. So if you're wondering like, hey, how can I grade these different classes? Well, this is one way you can do it. And I just, like I said, I go through and pick and choose which ones we're going to do. So just kind of looking ahead at the next couple of weeks. I mean, I could do all of them if I really wanted to, but you know, we just, like I said, pick and choose. We'll just kind of see what's coming up in the next couple of weeks that I can get printed. Oh, here's one on the legislature. I think that one is on our list that we're going to do. So again, different downloads you can get. We'll just download the student one and several pages for him to read. You can see, I mean, they're, like I said, high quality packets. And then stuff that he can fill out for me for a grade. So that is what I'll do, is I'll just get them printed. I just print a couple of weeks worth at a time and put them in the drawer for him to have. But it's a cool free resource, one of the activities on the Guest Hollow page. The other thing that I do that is helpful for me is having playlists done. So now I made this one for my son, or for my daughter a couple of years ago. But basically I created a bookmark folder, and then within that bookmark folder are all of the different weeks of the curriculum. And then, so if I scroll like week 11, for example, you can see the links are in here to the online textbook, and all of the different videos from the week that he'll watch on different days. So he just knows that if it says he's on week 6, then all of the videos would be in the week 6 folder, right? If he's on week 18, they're in there. And so he can just click right to it and go right to those pages. It takes me, as the parent, some time, obviously, to get that ready to go, but it is worth it because it's done for the year, and it's just ready for him to be able to use. And then I have the same thing done for modern American history. All of the different weeks are there with the different videos or links to things for him to read. It's mostly videos for the world history that I have linked on there, but he just finds the week that he's on and then he can go right to them. Well, it is nice to come home from a busy day and find the pillows all messed up and torn paper on the floor and the dog dragging around a blanket. Because why wouldn't you, buddy? Goodness gracious. Why is there a glove on the floor? Where did you even get that? Those are in the closet in a basket. Sweet mercy. This animal. Okay, it's a little chaotic here. The dog is super excited that I'm home. And he's just bringing me all of his toys and his blanket, and he's jumping all over me. Say hi, Bubbers. Say hi. Say hi to everybody. Say I'm so big and ornery and such a bugger-boo, aren't I? Yes, he is. He is. He's such a bugger. Anyways, it's been one of those days where it was dark outside when I left for work this morning, and then it was really cloudy all day. Stop jumping on me. It's been just dark and cloudy all day, and it's dark now, so it just feels like perpetual darkness today. Very much a hello darkness, my old friend moment. Anyways, I'm getting ready to leave because Ethan's got a basketball game tonight, so we're gonna go watch him play. I'm gonna work the concession stand and then watch him play. And then when we come home, we're gonna try a new New York style cookie recipe that I found that I wanna try and see if they turn out any good. So I'll share that recipe with you and let you know if they taste okay. And if they do, maybe you'll wanna make it with your kiddos. So let's go watch some basketball. Okay, my friends, we are home from basketball and I wanna try a cookie recipe I found, and it is supposedly for these like New York style cookies. So like the big, like thick, chewy cookies. I've not tried this recipe, so I figured we'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. But it's supposed to be one where there's like a base dough recipe, and then you can do different add-ins and variations in order to kind of like change up the flavors, but eat the same base dough. So it's basically butter, regular sugar, brown sugar, eggs, vanilla, flour, cornstarch, baking soda, baking powder, salt. So I mean, pretty basic cookie dough recipe here. Just like the amounts on everything. And what I'll do is I'll throw the recipe, I'll throw it up here on the screen for you, and then I'll put it down in the description box too, and let you know how these turn out. But I want to try two different variations on this. So I want to do one that is chocolate chips and M&Ms. So kind of like a, what is that called? Like a monster cookie, right? Where it's got a couple different things. But the other one I want to do is chocolate chunks, pretzels, and caramel pieces, and see how that turns out. So I'm going to make the base dough, and I think I'm just going to make one batch of this. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a double batch. I have a teenager in the house, so maybe a double batch is necessary. And yeah, we'll see how these turn out. So I'll show you what the dough looks like and proportioning it. These are largely based, like as far as the portion sizes and everything, it's all, you know, so many ounces and things like that. So if you have a kitchen scale, that would be helpful in order to get the proportions right. But it looks like you maybe divide it into a dozen cookies. I don't know. We'll see. Let's try it out. Okay, couple things on this recipe already. So first of all, it did say to use a cup of cold butter, but it didn't say to like cube it or anything. Now I use cold butter when I make my sugar cookies, but I cube it up and before I mix it, and so I just did the same with this. And then it's half a cup of regular sugar and a full cup of brown sugar, but it did not specify if it was like a cup of packed brown sugar or not. So I just loosely packed. So we'll just keep churning it. So we're gonna cream those together really good, and then we're gonna add in eggs next. Okay, I have added in vanilla, baking soda, baking powder, cornstarch, and salt. Just gotta add in 4 cups of flour, and then we should be able to start doing our different add-ins. Okay, here's my base dough. I've actually got it split in 2, so there's half, and there's half, and then my add-ins. So one of them I'm just gonna do M&Ms and I think chocolate chunks, I think. Or should I do M&Ms and chocolate chips? And maybe I'll do the chocolate chunks with the caramel and the pretzel bits. So we'll mix them up, and then they're supposed to be divided into roughly 5.5 ounce portions. So I'll use my kitchen scale, and we'll see how many it makes
And then they bake for 13-ish minutes at 375. So let's get these mixed up. All right, a little over 5. So that's a pretty good sized chunk. And I'm gonna kind of roll it into a ball, but not gonna pack it tight. So a little over 5 ounces. So we'll see. That probably will give me what, 3, right? Okay, this is after 13 minutes at 375, and I do have a convection oven. So, I mean, I think they're done. They feel like they would be done. I mean, they're huge cookies. I mean, that's a good sized cookie. All right, I'm gonna let them sit on the pan for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna take them off and put them on the cooling rack, and then we'll crack one open and give it a try. So I ended up being able to make 11 cookies. Now these ones over here were 5.5 ounces per portion. And then I started to do 5.5 ounces, but then I had like a little bit of dough left. Oops, sorry, it's my second timer. I didn't have enough dough left to do a full 5.5 ounce, so I cut these all down to 5 ounces. So these are all little 5 ounce ones, but they're still really good sized cookies. I can't wait to try them. They look good. Okay, now in the final recipe, it showed like different ways you can do toppings on them. I'm not gonna bother with that for this, but if they taste good and I wanna add them to like my bakery lineup, like the things I offer as a home baker, I probably would do like a little bit of a chocolate drizzle with some M&Ms on this one, and then like a caramel drizzle with like extra chocolate chunks and, you know, caramel piece, something like that on that, just to like jazz it up. Because if you're gonna do a New York style cookie, you know, you gotta kind of take it over the top, but they look yummy. Time for the taste test to see what we think of these cookies. So here we go. Pretty good. It needs, honestly, just a little more sweetness. I think I would do a full cup of regular sugar and a full cup of brown sugar. It just needs just a tad bit more. But this is, that's the pretzel chocolate caramel one. Let's try the other one. It has the M&Ms and chocolate pieces, and we'll see what we think of that one. Ethan.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm going to try these cookies my mom made. They're probably not as good as me, because I'm the professional baker in the house. Not bad.
That's caramel, chocolate chunk, and pretzel.
So it's diabetes in a cookie?
Do you want to try the M&M chocolate one?
No. I came in here for a protein shake, and she's going to make me fat.
Well, I'm trying to decide if I want to add them to my
But no,
store.
we need the gain.
But here.
Okay, cookies are done and it's getting late and I think I'm gonna call it for the night. It's been a long day. It started very early this morning because I've been just waking up really early and I'm gonna try to get some sleep. But thank you so much for watching today's video, and hopefully it gives you just a couple of updates on what's all going on with us. And I'll keep trying to give you some more updates. I know I was going to talk a bit more about like Ethan's school schedule and what it looks like, and talking about super senior years and all of that. So I will be sure to touch on that in a future video for you guys. I'm going to keep trying to get the series out. We're answering some common homeschooling questions. So be sure to let me know what kind of questions you have. Even if I don't get into all of the comments answering things, I am reading them, so that way I kind of can get a feel for what kind of questions you guys have. And then a couple people have asked too about the chemistry series, and those will be coming back out again too. They are something that I have pre-filmed and I've just been trying to edit and whatnot, but I will get back to posting those as well. Trying to fit it all in, right? And still get an adequate amount of sleep every night. and have some fun times and stuff. As you saw, my son keeps trying to keep it light and make me laugh. So God bless him for that. Anyways, Thanks so much for joining me for today's video, everybody. I will see you in the next one. And until then, happy homeschooling.